Hi, and welcome to Zed Games. Recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios in Brisbane and broadcast nationally over the Community Radio Network, Zed Games brings you the latest gaming news, reviews and interviews from across Australia and around the world.
Ladies and gentlemen and other listenoids, you have tuned in to Zed Games, your favourite gaming radio show. I am joined in the studio by Razor. Say hello, Razor.
Hello, Razor.
There he is. Ms. Candy Payne.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Lee.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Yeah. Mr. Jody Goatface McGregor.
Hi, gang.
He doesn't really have a goat face. He's quite a handsome man.
Hey, someone's already got that nickname.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan.
That's true. And I'm Lee. And we are talking about video games, as we do every week. It's kind of our shtick.
Kind of.
Razor, what is happening on this episode?
I know Jody's excited to talk about Goat Simulator.
Yes, I am. I've been playing that.
It's going to be awesome.
For a few days. It's pretty
Oh, I just got the goat face joke.
Yeah, it's not even a joke. I was just...
I didn't know where that came from.
Yeah, it was quite mean. Also, you should watch out for the goat face killer. I hear that guy.
We'll also be talking about Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, and just in case you're not up to scratch on your Metal Gear Solid lore, we'll also be doing a recap on the storyline. But let's get into this week's news, shall we, Miss Candy Payne?
I'd love to. Phil Spencer, formerly an executive at Microsoft Studios, has been promoted to the head of Microsoft's Xbox branch. The new role will see Spencer leading both Xbox and Xbox Live. Spencer said in a statement on Xbox Live, "Games and gamers have always been at the core of Xbox and the core of my work, and gaming will be our core as we take Xbox forward."
Interesting how he put a specific emphasis on games.
And the word core.
Yeah, he did say core a lot.
Sorry.
And when you say Xbox Forward, is that like a voice command for the Xbox? People listening to this with Xbox Ones in their house, is their Xbox moving slightly forward now?
Yes.
That's how that works?
Yeah.
Cool.
Xbox forward. Xbox.
Forward.
Bring me a sandwich.
Have you guys seen those really awesome Xbox One trolling videos where people make their username Xbox off or Xbox Twitch or something? I don't have an Xbox, so I don't know the particular usernames, but then they troll people in the games to make them say that command and then take them out of the game.
Jerks.
Yeah, I found it amusing.
I can see that. Aaron Nichols, a virtual reality engineer at Valve, has left the company to join the team at Oculus VR. Nichols is the third Valve employee to leave for Oculus this year. Last week, it was reported that Facebook would be purchasing Oculus VR in a deal worth $2 billion. 21-year-old Oculus founder Palmer Luckey said at the time that he would be expanding the company in the light of the buyout.
Well, Valve have really got to plug that leak or they're going to lose tens of thousands of employees to the Oculus Rift. Huh?
Yeah,
that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Good for him.
This year, the games industry has traditionally embraced April Fool's Day, and it was no exception this year. Diablo 3 creators Blizzard celebrated the occasion by creating a Flappy Bird clone called Happy Reaper. Call of Duty Ghosts players found their favourite game modes renamed in silly ways like Pew Pew and Bro Do You Even Cap? I ruined that one.
Yeah, nice,
Thanks.
Nice work.
It couldn't have been helped.
Yeah, whatever. They weren't great names. Fez creator Phil Fish tweeted that Fez 2 was back in development, though this has not actually been debunked as an April Fool's prank.
I just want to step in here.
Okay.
This, I don't know, Phil Fish, he's a jerk, right? Everyone knows it.
That's not the word you used when we were off air.
All right. I just think that this could be like a double prank. Like, imagine if Fez 2 really is being, it's back in production, but he just chose April the 1st to...
Yeah, I see where you're going.
Yeah. That could be a little something mildly amusing.
Yeah.
In line with his, dickish character.
That's the word you used.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
whoops.
Yeah. Meanwhile, an awesome trailer was created for a fictional Titanfall DLC called Titanfall Prime, featuring everyone's favourite Autobot Optimus Prime destroying other Titans.
I would play that version of
That
the
is-
game.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that is awesome. The Dark Souls developers said that an easy mode was on the way for Dark Souls 2.
I would also play that version.
I'd totally play easy mode.
Yeah.
And last but not least, Google opened the job position of Pokemon Master to the first person to catch 150 Pokemon hidden around the world on Google Maps. Though the job was a hoax, the Pokemon could indeed be found in both the iOS and Android versions of Google Maps.
Now, just to clarify here, there was some confusion.
There was no confusion.
Candy, there weren't any Pokemon actually out in the world to be captured.
That's not what I was saying. Look, the job was a hoax, but you could actually get on to Google Maps and play.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, so that was just the fun part, but that
Yes.
wasn't a prank.
No, that was still a prank.
No, oh my god, okay, whatever.
The job of Pokemon Master at Google just sounds really awesome. I would totally take that job.
It's not real.
Yeah, that kind of
Just
sucks.
just to clarify again, that was
Optimus
the
Prime
prank.
is the Google Pokemon Master.
And
Am I up to
he's
speed?
real.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I followed that.
Yeah.
They tease us on April the 1st with things that could actually be so awesome. Why do they do that?
Because they hate fun
'Cause
and you.
That's
Yeah.
what April Fool's is. You've missed the memo for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when corporations pretend they have a sense of humour.
It worked. I laughed. Right.
All right, that's it for the news.
Yep.
Next up, we'll be talking about the Metal Gear Solid universe, including the new game Ground Zeroes.
If you've never played a Metal Gear game before, but are curious about Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, the extraordinarily convoluted plot might keep you from jumping in. Seriously, the plot is so complicated that some veteran players of the series admit that they have no idea what's going on.
If you're going to doubt yourself, I'll leave you here.
For this reason, Zed Games presents what you need to know before you play Ground Zeroes. Before we get started, bear in mind that it's very difficult to squish 5 games worth of content into 5 minutes, so this is just the basics. Also, this calls for a minor spoiler alert. We will try and avoid unnecessary spoilers, but some of these games are nearly 10 years old. If you're planning on jumping into Ground Zeroes cold, you'll need to have some of the critical twists spoiled for you. The timeline of the Metal Gear Solid world is a little wacky, with different games taking place in different time periods. According to the game's timeline, the series starts during the Cold War, as told during Metal Gear Solid 3, originally released on PS2 in 2004. You play as Naked Snake, who, despite the ridiculous name, is an American secret agent sent on a covert mission to the Soviet Union to rescue a nuclear weapons scientist. On his solo mission, he is instructed over radio by his commanding officer Major Zero and a few other survival specialists. Snake is intercepted by his former mentor, the Boss, who defected to the Soviet Union and brought multiple nuclear warheads as a gift. Colonel Volgan, a Soviet soldier with the mysterious power of controlling lightning, takes one of these nukes and fires it at a nearby research facility. The Boss promptly beats the living hell out of Snake and chucks him off a bridge. Tough love, right?
Other people just complicate my life. I don't like to get involved.
In the aftermath of the destroyed research facility, tensions are high between the Soviet Union and the US, as the Soviet Union blames the US for the attack simply because the Boss was an accomplice. The US government sends Snake back into the Soviet Union a second time to take down the Boss and defuse the situation between the two nations. During this mission, Snake defeats a number of eccentric supervillains and finally the Boss herself, recovering the nuclear weapons and saving the day. Snake learns that the Boss defected to the Soviet Union under orders from the US government, and that she sacrificed herself to keep a third world war from breaking out.
There's only room for one boss and one Snake.
When Snake gets back to America, he is celebrated and awarded the title of Big Boss. Soon afterwards, Major Zero creates the organization The Patriots and wants to unify the world by controlling the main sources of information. Simultaneously, Zero wants to establish Big Boss as a heroic figurehead of the organization. Big Boss disagrees with Zero's actions and attempts to disassociate himself with the Patriots. Zero, not wanting to lose his legendary soldier, secretly clones Big Boss. These clones would eventually grow up to be Solid Snake and Liquid Snake, but we'll get back to those guys later.
A name means nothing on the battlefield. After a week, no one has a name.
Big Boss was pissed. He went AWOL on the Patriots and with the help of his friend Kaz Miller, started a mercenary organization known as Militaires Sans Frontières, or MSF. This is where Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, released on PSP in 2010, begins. MSF is commissioned by a mysterious man to protect Costa Rica from invaders, thought to be agents of the CIA. Big Boss recruits more members into the MSF, and it grows into a self-sufficient army set up in Outer Heaven, an offshore base in the middle of the Caribbean Sea. The mysterious man turns out to be an agent of the KGB trying to thwart the CIA's plans. Big Boss discovers the CIA's new project, an enormous robot with nuclear capability called Peace Walker. Big Boss soon destroys Peace Walker, but recovers enough technology to build his own mech, which he names Metal Gear Zeke. Finally, the name Metal Gear is starting to make some sense. A double agent inside MSF, Paz, takes control of Metal Gear and attempts to take it back to Zero and the Patriots, but is thwarted again by Big Boss. This brings us up to date to Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes.
Don't regret your past. Learn from it. Regrets just make a person weaker.
However, let's jump forward into the 21st century and give you a brief overview of those clones we talked about earlier. The first Metal Gear Solid, released in 1998 for the PS1, has you play as Solid Snake, one of the aforementioned clones. Solid Snake, much like his genetic father, is a brilliant soldier and spy and is sent into Shadow Moses Island to thwart an uprising from the rebel group known as Foxhound, led by Liquid Snake, the other clone. After defeating even more eccentric villains, Solid comes face to face with Liquid, where Liquid reveals that Solid is actually the inferior clone, with the recessive genes of Big Boss, whereas Liquid has all the super awesome genes. Despite his inherent genetic disadvantage, Solid kicks Liquid's ass and saves the day. If you haven't realised by now, Metal Gear Solid is a very story-heavy game, and we haven't even scratched the surface on most of the detailed plots and stories. Hopefully now you have a basic understanding of who the hell this Big Boss guy is. Have fun sneaking about in Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes.
So, what do you think? Is your age of heroes finally over?
I'm no hero. Never was. Never will be.
Okay, so Snake's back for Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. I played the PS4 version. Very pretty game. All you need to know is that you are Snake and you have to bust into a prison camp.
Wait a minute. That's all I need to know?
Essentially, yes. If you are familiar with the lore, you'll get an added appreciation for, the references in the game. But
like familiar with the lore?
Yeah.
Like in real life, the lore?
The storyline.
The storyline.
Yeah.
L-O-R-E.
Oh, L-O-R-E.
Yeah. My apologies.
I got really confused.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
So Ground Zeroes is just about one mission, right? It's not like a full-length thing. It's just, here's you, Snake, you break into this camp, and that's
right.
it, right?
Well, Metal Gear Solid 5 was originally 2 installments, Ground Zeroes and The Phantom Pain. Now, last year at E3, Konami announced that they would be merged into one super game, and then a couple of months ago it was revealed that, look, the Phantom Pain segment of that is taking a hell of a lot longer than we thought. Let's just put out Ground Zeroes now to kind of give our fans a little something.
That's nice of them.
Yeah.
People like a little something.
That's right. But the little in little something is where it could be problematic. You see, a little bit before release, a couple of journalists got like one of those in-house demonstrations, and a few of them noticed that the game was quite short. You could actually rush through the game in an hour or two. And so that became like a really big blight on the face of this game before it was even released. So now that it's out, I'll tell you how long it took me to beat 2.5 hours to beat the main mission, and I don't really see how anyone could have beaten it in more time than that, because I was the most inept secret agent that you could possibly imagine.
I can imagine that, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea, the first thing I did, I walked in through the front gate of the facility, and then a spotlight came down on me, and the alarms blared, and I had to spend about 5 minutes shaking off the guards. That's how I started.
And then the next 10 minutes was explaining yourself to the guards.
It just went downhill from there. So I scoured the facility. I sort of artificially padded out the game by doing a whole bunch of fun stuff like stealing the trucks and blowing up stuff with tanks. Even then, my total playtime for the mission was 2.5 hours.
So is this a full-price game?
It's $50 Australian. Once you've beaten the main mission, there are side ops that you can go back and beat. These are set in the same facility, but just different missions. The missions themselves are kind of, they're extraction missions, or go in there, grab something, get out, but you never know where it is. So exploration is kind of the key, and that's another thing that artificially pads out the length of this game, is the fact that you have to comb this facility for something. You don't know where it is. That's going to take you a long time. The downside is, once you know where those things are on a subsequent replay, I mean, you just go straight there, extract the hostage, go back out, and you could literally play the game in 10 minutes or something, finish one of those missions in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, I have heard that there were developers who were showing people how to do it in 18 minutes flat.
Yeah.
Which,
I saw one speed run, 5 minutes for the main thing.
Wow.
Yeah. That's using a large amount of skill, but yeah, 5 minutes you can actually beat it.
Is it a stealth game?
Yes.
Are you supposed to be taking it slow? Are you supposed to be sneaking? Does it actually let you do that?
Metal Gear Solid traditionally is a stealth game, but this particular one, the game doesn't break if you play it like a third-person shooter, which is really kind of awesome.
I have it on good authority, though, that despite the shortness of it, as a stealth game, this is right up there. This is, a whole new level of stuff.
It's not a bad game, it's just really short. What is there is really excellent. The controls have been refined really well, so it plays just like a familiar third-person shooter with a few stealth elements, so you can just jump in even if stealth's not your bag. I remember the previous Metal Gear Solid games had very confusing and complex button layouts. They've ditched all that, and it's much better this time. The stealth itself is fun. The facility is really well detailed and complex, so sneaking around is an absolute blast. The AI is not awesome, but it's very much serviceable.
What's a cool thing that you did as Mr. Big Boss Snake himself? I was paying attention to the history.
Yes.
I know which snake this is.
Something that I really enjoyed doing was stealing the tank. There's a tank on the site, and you can just get into it and go around and blow stuff up.
Stealthy.
And there's a large amount of destructible environment as well, which was surprising to see. It's a really highly polished game, like all of the Metal Gear Solid games. I played it on the PS4. Between this and infamous Second Son last week, a lot of eye candy for Razer. This might be actually the best looking console game that I've ever played. The lighting was so cool. Like Snake's got like a really slick sort of secret agent suit.
Listener, Razer was just rubbing his body there to indicate how slick his stealth suit was. So just imagine Ray doing that.
Sort of around the nipple area.
For the remainder of this segment.
That's all right with me.
Yeah.
Oh.
So the mission, the primary mission, the Ground Zeroes one, is set at nighttime during a storm. So there's rain coming down, and there's flashes of lightning that reflect, and there's pools of water that accumulate, and it's just really immersive, and everything feels really wet. And the sound design also assists that. The guards, when they're walking away, you can hear their feet squelching with the sort of waterlogged socks. Mm-hmm. That's a little nice detail they put in. When you knock out
specifically the socks.
The socks and shoes, when you walk through the rain and it goes...
Yeah, no, we get it. Hey,
yeah.
No, that's okay, we get it.
When you knock out a guard and he's wearing like
Can
a
you
rubber...
steal his socks?
No.
Oh.
How do you knock them out? Do you just thump them over the head with your gun?
You can sneak up behind them and grab them, and then you have the option to...
How do you sneak with all the foot noise?
No,
I'm talking about the
drowns
guards.
you out.
Yeah.
Snake is really silent.
How do you knock them out?
You grab them from behind, and then you have the choice to either interrogate them, knock them out with your fist or the butt of your blade or something, and you can actually get some pretty decent information about the location of certain things.
Any gossip?
So if the location of a top secret cassette tape is gossip.
It is in this case.
In this case it is, yeah. So I guess there is gossip.
You're basically Jack Bauer from 24.
Very much so.
Yes, you definitely are.
And
actually.
Jody, I'm glad you said that, because you're actually more like Jack Bauer than ever, because he's voiced by Kiefer Sutherland in this case.
What an amazing coincidence.
You know what they should have done? They should have had Donald Sutherland voice him in this game, and then in the next one where you play Solid Snake, then they could have Kiefer play him.
Yeah.
I
see where you're going.
Yeah. On account of the fact
nice.
that they're family.
Look,
I'll see myself out.
Yeah, thanks.
I really enjoyed David Hayter previously as Snake, but Kiefer Sutherland is cool with me as well. I'm a Kiefer Sutherland fan, so I'm fine. And he says "damn it" in the game.
Whoa.
So fans of 24, yeah, right up your alley.
It's his catchphrase.
It is.
Yeah. So, Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. Yeah, look, it's a bit hard to recommend because, it's really good. If you're a fan of the game, you should probably check it out. But if you're not, I would advise you not to get this game unless you find it on special, because at the price point that it is, $50, look, you probably get maximum 10 hours out of it. But I've actually made a list here.
Oh, good.
For our dear listeners that are thinking about maybe buying the game, of 5 things that are better value than Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. The first one is Metal Gear Solid HD Collection.
Right.
It's about $30.
Yep.
A lot of game there.
A lot of gameplay there.
You got
Number
$20
2.
left over.
Yeah,
winning.
and you can buy like some chips or something to eat while you play the game.
Like a lot of chips. 4 bags at least.
Number 2, a carton of Cooper's Pale Ale.
Done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Number 3, 5 copies of Goat Simulator. A propeller beanie hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know one of those hats that has the propeller on the top
So
and it spins
that
around?
would be better value than Ground Zero.
Absolutely, without a question.
Because that would, I mean, I hope they cost less than $50.
And get you more than 10 hours enjoyment.
See a lot of kids wearing them out there these days, and that's weird. Stop doing that, youth of today.
And the 5th thing that is better value than Metal Gear Solid 5
Drum
Ground
roll.
Zeroes is
Yep.
matching I'm with Stupid t-shirts for you and your loved one.
That's really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's the harshest review we've ever given.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But think about how much fun you can have with those t-shirts, going out in public, taking photographs.
No.
Yeah,
I
look-
feel like I should be wearing 9 with stupid shirt.
yeah, Candy. Very amusing.
No, I'm done. I'm good. It's all right.
Come on, that's a low blow.
No, it's a fair blow. You put a propeller hat on there.
That's Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes available for PS4, Xbox One, 360, and the PS3. Look, it's not often that we declare a game of the year this early in the year. I mean, it is only just April after all. But Jody, you have been playing Goat Simulator.
Yes, I have, and it's amazing. And it started as a joke. This was a Swedish developer named Coffee House Studios, and between real games, they goof off and they make little things to amuse themselves. And this started as one of those. Somebody thought, what if we made a game where you were an indestructible goat and you flipped tables and headbutted things and licked a lot of stuff and jumped on a trampoline? That would be funny. And they laughed at that, and they thought it was so funny that they put it on YouTube, where they thought everyone else would have a little laugh at it. But what everyone else did is look at it and say, take my money, I would buy that if that was a real game, and I would play that for hours. So, being smart, they decided to actually make it into a real game and release it on April Fool's, but not as an April Fool's joke. It's a real game. You can buy it for $10 on Steam. You are an indestructible goat. You can headbutt anything, and half the things you headbutt will explode.
Good.
Which is a huge selling point for me. Headbutt a car, explodes. Welding equipment, explodes. Petrol station, huge explosion. And when stuff explodes, you go flying through the air because the physics in this is incredibly loose. So that makes destruction fun. Like everything that you headbutt or run into will fall over in a hilarious way.
Excellent.
So you've got this map of a small town, and you're this just insane devil goat who rampages through it, ruining everyone's stuff.
Sorry.
So, like, if, like Candy,
are you
play
drooling right now?
This just sounds awesome.
if you play games like Grand Theft Auto to ruin everyone's
Yes.
stuff and give everyone a bad time and knock everyone over,
Yes,
this is just that
obviously.
with none of the cutscenes or character stuff or plot or exposition or all of that rubbish where you're not smashing crap. This is just the smashing crap.
Listeners, I'm actually terrified by the twinkle in Candy's eyes right now. She is having dark
This
thoughts.
Awesome. I'm not having dark thoughts. I'm having awesome thoughts. This sounds incredible. Can you describe, please? Sorry, you probably want to continue, but also describe what does it look like? Because in my head, I'm picturing, because goats have been like the craze on YouTube and stuff at the moment with all the goat singing videos and screaming, and it's hilarious. So I'm actually just imagining like the goat looks like a real life goat. Is it? Or is it? No, it's all animation, or what does it actually look like?
It's third person.
Yep.
It's third goat. You see the goat from behind, and it's like a sort of a low-rent Grand Theft Auto.
Got it, yep.
Like, it's not cartoony, but it's not, like, super amazing graphics. So maybe like a GTA San Andreas level sort of polygons, although the shadows are ridiculous. Like, this actually did tax my graphics card until I turned the dynamic shadows off. There's a ridiculous amount of effort that's gone into some parts of it. They've achieved that by cutting corners in other areas where cutting corners would be funny. So glitching happens constantly and hilariously. Like, the head of this goat just defies the laws of physics. It's constantly flapping around. When you sprint, you sort of bounce along and drag your butt on the ground, and your head and tongue are just like hanging around, flapping around. Your head is always getting stuck inside walls and stuff as you run past them or headbutt stuff.
That makes sense, though. You're a goat.
Yeah, no, you're a goat, but you're a goat who is just capable of glitching through the entire world because that's a funny thing to have happen.
Yeah.
You can also lick anything, and you have this weird adhesive super stretchy tongue that means anything you lick will get dragged along and bounce around behind you, and you can like balls, axes, street lamps, you can drag all of this stuff around and then run into, say, somebody's backyard party or a political demonstration, swinging this thing around and knocking everyone over.
Brilliant.
If you want to get rid of things off your tongue, can you headbutt them?
No, you just press the lick button again and they go flying.
Right, yep.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
So it seems like a lot of the fun is like mucking around with physics and seeing how your goat reacts to different situations.
Yeah, there are little objectives in the corner of the screen that give you a goal for what to do next, like do a 360 off a trampoline or headbutt a truck or get this score, because everything you break gives you points. But I found the most fun was just in like seeing crazy stuff and thinking, what can I do with that? Like, there's a crane in that construction site. What if I just climbed that? The goat can climb ladders.
Good.
Well, yeah. Have you ever Googled mountain goats?
Wait up.
They use ladders to
But
get up mountains.
No, but I mean, you see them balancing on one little hoof. I wouldn't be surprised if they could do that in real life.
I would totally be surprised.
I would be very surprised if it
little
looked
imagination.
anything like it looks in Goat Simulator, because when you walk into a ladder, your head just goes straight through it, and then your little legs go, and you sort of ascend vertically as if you're on a lift, while your tongue flaps around weirdly.
I do wish that they
grossly.
had just animated that, taken a man climbing up a ladder animation and applied it to the goat just for that bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Little disappointed, actually.
this is weirder than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I climbed that crane.
Yeah.
At the top of that crane, there was some poor guy sitting down, like maybe he was eating his lunch, like a construction worker with his sandwich on his break. I headbutted the hell out of that dude.
All right. Which brings me to my next question. What's the morality system like in Goat Simulator?
There isn't one.
Oh, okay.
Because, I mean, you're a goat, right?
Yeah.
And goats are evil.
Yes.
We all know it.
So there's no way to redeem this goat then?
There is an achievement for being an angel goat. Which I guess you have to do like 5 minutes of not, reducing anyone to a twitching ragdoll.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that achievement.
That seems impossible.
not
I
fun.
haven't done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a thing that I have not tried.
What do you just walk around the streets not touching things?
Just pressing the bar button.
I don't know, maybe it's like a Groundhog Day and you're Bill Murray and you have to go around protecting people because the people are dumb. Like, the AI is really rudimentary and they will often just like walk into stuff and fall over. So maybe you would have to actually go around and knock down street lamps they were going to run into and blow up cars that were going to run them over. But that also seems like less fun than just like going to the top of a hill and licking a boulder and then dragging it down on top of them.
Is anything off limits? Like, are there some things that you just can't... No,
I
don't
hope
look
that
at me with
some
a face
things
like
are
that.
off limits, Candy.
Down with this sort of thing.
Well, in the headbutting department, at least, are there things that, not the licking side, but, like, are there things that... Well, you're giving me a weird look. Are there things that just you can't headbutt, or, like, it's just not part of it, or, it's just scenery, or, like, is everything... Can you run into it at some
Can you
point?
headbutt the earth itself?
Yeah, well, exactly.
There are limits.
Yeah.
There's an edge to the map.
Oh.
What
And
happens if you headbutt that?
it's just an invisible wall that you bounce off. But because of the looseness of the physics and the glitchiness of everything, you can get past that there's a ragdoll button that just turns you sort of limp, and so by running into the invisible wall and hitting the ragdoll button a lot and sort of launching myself off trampolines towards it, I made it past.
Did you end up in the real world? Like in The Simpsons?
There's a huge chunk of world beyond the edge of the map, it turns out, because I think they expect people to try this sort of thing. Because it's what you would do.
Yeah.
There's like this low-res world with like streets and skyscrapers, and I wandered around in that for a bit, bumping into more and more invisible walls until it was as if the physics engine realized what I was doing, caught up with me, and then twanged me like a rubber band back into where I was supposed to be, where I hit a fence and then flipped off it and went soaring through the air.
I have heard that is referred to as the goat cannon in-game, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes,
That's a thing?
That's what the designers called it.
I'm not surprised that
Did you
that's
just
a
make
thing.
that up?
No.
Oh, cool.
I do
I'm
my
sure this is what
research.
happens to everyone, because I imagine that everyone hits the edge of the world and is like, screw you, I can destroy everything, including physical limits.
I was hoping that you would be able to break through and end up in, like, Skyrim or something.
There is There are ways you can modify the goat. You can unlock things that change the goat, and one of them is a thing that turns you into the goat-born.
Good.
And you can goat shout,
Nice.
which sends stuff flying in front of you when you hit the bar button. Yeah,
Nice.
That's pretty fun.
Excellent. Yeah. Now tell us about the storyline. I understand that it is quite epic. That it spans. It's going to span multiple chapters.
Did you miss the first 10 minutes of this? You headbutt things.
Yeah.
Yep. The storyline is you're a goat.
Right. Now,
That's it.
Okay. So is Kiefer Sutherland in this one as well? Does he provide the voice of the goat?
Maybe.
Excellent. That's good. So tell me about this goat.
Is it just the one goat, or are there many goats you can choose from? Different colours?
There are many goats you can unlock.
Ooh.
So that gives you a reason to go back and try again. You can set in the options which kind of goat you will be, and there are ridiculous kinds of goat. There's a blue streak goat who has this thing where you can sort of spin around on the spot and build up speed and then shoot off in a direction, and you turn blue when you do that. Kind of like another video game.
That does sound
character.
familiar. Yes. Yeah.
And there's
Crash
also
Bandicoot.
Yeah, that's Crash Bandicoot. There's also the tall goat, which is a giraffe. And
spoiler alert, if you were looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I've ruined the ending there. The ending is it's a giraffe. There's also the feather goat,
Yeah.
which is an ostrich.
Again,
Yeah.
spoiler alert.
I'm just
retroactive.
ruining this game for you now.
Yeah.
No reason to play it now that you know how
That's
to
okay.
dance.
Even though you've said ostrich, I'm still just picturing a goat covered in feathers. I don't know why. I think
that's the gag.
Yeah, well, it's cooler.
Do they all act the same, or does the tall goat have like greater, higher-reaching destructive powers, for instance?
The feather goat can sort of flap its wings in a really hilariously lame way and stay in the air a little bit longer. And the tall goat can reach higher stuff to lick. But otherwise they play in a pretty similar way, yeah. You can also find there are a lot of secrets hidden around, even though it's a really small area, this map. There's a lot of stuff tucked away in the corners of it, including a jetpack.
Good.
Because what every indestructible goat needs is a jetpack.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
There's this satanic, like, pentagram summoning circle in one corner of the map, and you can, like, sacrifice people there, and then stuff happens. There seems like there's a couple of rituals there. I did manage to drag enough people there to turn myself into this kind of devil goat with devil goat powers.
Good choice.
So that was fun.
What do the devil goat powers do?
You get weirder control of the physics. Like, you can drag people up in front of your horrible goatee face, and they just sort of spin there in place, like as if... And they sort of get smushed together in a way that's really gross and horrifying. It's like it's like the anti-headbutt. You're like bringing them towards you, and then you can headbutt them away in these gross, smushed up balls.
I grew up in the country. Goats can do that.
Cool. Can they also see when you're the devil goat and you ragdoll, and you've got your weird physics-bending goat devil powers on? You fly up into the air in this really stretchy way, like the stretching happens to you, and you just bounce around the skybox over and over again, and that's also really weird. It's obviously like a physics glitch the designers found, and then they were like, how can we work it so that the player has access to this terrible-looking weird stuff?
I don't think goats regularly do that. I think that's just a devil goat thing.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like a common thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been to space? I heard that you can go to space.
I have been to space, yes.
As a goat?
Yes, as a goat.
So you're a space goat?
No, you can summon aliens.
Good. Good choice. Yeah.
There's also... In one corner of the map, there's a low-gravity testing facility.
Excellent.
Which I assumed at first was just like there as a joke, as an explanation of why the physics in this game is so gunked up. But then I found out you can actually get inside the low-gravity testing facility. You can jump over the wall, and inside there's all of this like even more crazy stuff.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
There's like a frictionless skate ramp, so it's like you're playing this ragdoll version of Tony Hawk where the goat just slides around on a huge skater ramp.
Wonderful.
And a room full of fans that are powerful enough to push you up into the air and bounce you around, and also balls. Just balls and fans.
So you're some sort of flying goat in that
Yeah,
room then?
yeah, you can fly.
Right. Yeah.
Wow, I am just loving every second of this review because I
Yeah.
have so many questions. I don't know what to ask first.
You should ask them.
I want to know about the music because we
Yes.
played like 60 seconds and
I don't think we could have played any more of that, to be
Well,
honest.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
We
is
have
that
requirements.
is that going in the background constantly, and does it get on your nerves, or do you not even notice it because you're like an awesome goat?
The music changes as you're playing. It does this
Right.
procedural thing where most of the time it's quite low key and quiet, but as you cause more and more rampant destruction, the music keys up and gets more and more like da, 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 which really just like makes me want to smash more things. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm going to flip a table now. Yeah, I'm going to headbutt that guy. I'm going to jump through this window. It really makes you angry in a way that suits the game perfectly. It just makes you want to keep smashing everything.
I feel like this was written for me. I love this game. I also just feel like the creators just sat around a table just thinking of the stupidest things in the world and then going, yes, genius, add that in.
Yeah.
I think
Like,
that is what
clearly.
happened.
I know,
Yeah,
but
that's what
that's what I
happened.
love about this, because everybody's just loved that as well. Oh.
Yeah. So we're talking about Goat Simulator. Ladies and gentlemen, your Zed Games 2014 Game of the Year. Right, Jody?
Probably because, to be serious for like half a second.
Sure.
I was being perfectly serious for the last half
I
an hour.
I was being serious too.
Yeah.
Okay. Goat Simulator is like, it's going to be funny for the first couple of hours, and then you'll have seen everything that it's got to show you, and you'll have laughed, and that's cool. But it also ships with Steam Workshop support, which means that from now on, like anyone who understands a little bit about how to put a game together can change the way that Goat Simulator works, can make their own maps for it and their own goats and their own weird ways to bend the physics engine, and then put them on Steam and everyone can play them. It opened up today and there were already a couple of things. Now your goats can teleport and double jump and do stupid things. But that's going to actually make it worth going back to. This dumb, thing that's funny for a couple of hours is going to keep being funny and keep getting funnier.
Perhaps someone actually will be able to import all of Skyrim into Goat Simulator.
That's going to happen, and then somebody's going to put a bunch of like characters from you'll be Yoshi, and then you'll be like a bunch of My Little Pony characters.
That's going to happen. That's
next.
already happened, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
And then somebody will add in like a nude mod, which does absolutely nothing to the game.
Yeah.
Very cool. So we could get Goat Simulator for the PC and Mac.
On Steam for $10.
But
That's
it's like
$10.
Wait,
it's worth,
it is on Mac.
It's coming to Mac. The
Oh,
Mac version
thank
is now.
God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Mac and Linux are coming soon.
Oh, I need this game so bad.
So like it's $10, but it's worth at least 10 times that, right, Jody?
Oh, easily. Yeah.
Yes.
That's going to bring us to the end of this week's episode, guys. Catch you next week.
Bye.
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 Thanks for listening. This has been Zed Games, recorded live in Brisbane on 4ZZZ and heard nationally thanks to the Community Radio Network. For more information on the show and to join the Zed Games community, head to our website, zedgamesau.net. That's spelt Z-E-D, or send us an email at contact@zedgamesau.net. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Zed Games is produced with the assistance of the Community Broadcasting Foundation.